Hi, I'm Stacy Spittler. I read the poem Love Calls Us to the Things of This World by Richard Wilbur. I thought it was a very intriguing poem with a unique meaning. The poem tells of human feelings and the love, basically. For a short summary, here we go. The eyes open from sleep, and before the rest of the body joins the party, the soul wakes up and hangs out outside the body for a while. During this time, it regards the outside world from the window. It sees joyous angels everywhere, in sheets, smocks, and blouses. The angels fly around for a while before shrinking into the background so the rest of the world can wake up. That's when things really take a turn for the mundane. The soul begins to sense the inevitable, that the body will wake up and the world continue in its normal human way. And the soul will have to go along with it, unwillingly. As the sun begins to rise, the soul returns to the body begrudgingly. But hey, it isn't all bad. There's also some celebration there at the end of the flaws that make us humans. Well, human. So for the poem, I found alliteration, and it also has a lot of rhyming, which is hard to determine. So for alliteration, in the first line, for example, has the internal rhyme of eyes and the word cry, followed closely by the alliteration in line 2, which is spirited, sleep, and soul. Plus astounded, if you want to throw another S sound in the mix. If you keep reading, you're bound to find more repeated sounds throughout the rest of the poem. They have a way of linking the poem together, of pushing you through from line to line, driven on by familiar sounds. But they also help Wilbur make meaning, as in line 10, which has the alliteration of the words feeling and filling. The alliteration helps fill up the line with sound, mimicking the meaning of the line. It's a little dose of sing-songy joy, just like the joy these angels are feeling as they breathe in the breeze. For rhyming, at first glance it wouldn't be easy to call this a free-verse poem. There's no particular rhyme scheme, and when we read it aloud, it is really hard to hear the particular meter. But each of the lines is about 10 syllables long, give or take a few. Even the shorter lines, such as false down, they have 10 or so syllables when you squish them together with what comes after, like 5, or the phrase, outside the open window. We can tell that each of these stanzas is 5 or 6 lines long. With the patterns that are presented in this poem, the author is for sure messing with the form somehow. As a general rule, when we see 10 syllables in a line, our brain should immediately jump to iambic pentameter, or in this case, blank verse, which is iambic pentameter with no rhyme scheme at all. That means we should be looking for a repeated DA, DUM, repeated again, pattern in the lines of this poem. But in the first line we have the phrase, the eyes open to a cry voice. The line starts off strong with the eyes is an EM. It goes the repeated pattern. But then it really hits and the meter's lost. But then we see towards the end of the poem in the last line of the stanza with the phrase, the morning air is all awash with angels. We can see that's a strong line of iambic pentameter. It just has an extra syllable tacked on the end, in which the poets do that all the time. As we read through the poem, we'll see moments of iambic pentameter and some moments where there's really no rhyme at all. But overall, I think we should say this poem is vaguely iambic, which means we can call it almost a blank verse. So, in conclusion, while Wilbur's using form to structure the poem, he can shake things up when he wishes. It is fitting, though shockingly enough, for a poem with such free-flowing imagery.